Hi, lovelies. It's so good to see you. I'm not feeling any better. But I didn't make this video about that. I just really wanted to say hi and I miss you. And there's still a lot of good, positive things going on out there. You have to look for them. When you're healing in the beginning, it's really hard to look for the positive in things because we've gone through so much stuff. And then when it does come around, the good stuff does come around, we don't believe it's going to stay because of all the stuff that's happened to us in the past. This was me. I was a, what's the word? A sabotager. Self-sabotager. Even if something good would come along for me, I would make an excuse for it and leave it because I thought it was going to leave me. And that tracked back to my issues like with my dad. You know, I took daddy issues when I was little and I fucking ran with that shit. For a long, long time, up until recently, honestly. You know, it took me a long time to accept that. I don't even know how to put this. So my dad has two kids, which are me and my half sister. And we are both estranged from him and do not talk to him. However, his stepwife, who is cool, don't get me wrong, my stepmom's cool, has two nieces from Wisconsin that they were super cool with, and now that my dad and stepmom moved down to Florida, they probably all fucking dead, so they can be in their weird fucking community. I don't know. So I ran, if you can imagine, with these daddy issues for a very long time. I also went to like their house one time, and I had brought them pictures. It was like just shortly after my senior year. I think I was actually like 20 or 21, and I took some really nice pictures. So I sent them to them, or I took them to them, you know, when I arrived at their house, and we were having like a family Christmas, you know, thing. And they literally had the other girls, like her nieces, pictures blasted all over the house. Every single fucking room of her nieces. Nothing of my sister. And then my pictures, they were laid out on the table for people to see. So I was like, and even one of my cousins, so because I thought I was okay, like maybe I'm being too sensitive, like they just got the pictures, they didn't have time to put them, you know, in a nice frame or whatever. No, even my cousin was like, wow, it sure was nice of them to lay your pictures out for you. And I was like, yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. And I really wanted to just take them and rip them up and throw them in the trash. Which I should have, but I did not. But you don't have to deal with that shit. Okay, I cut cords to my dad. We're just not gonna get along. When I was in recovery, I confronted him. I did like my 8th step or whatever. 9th step. I forgot which one it is. But anyway. And he didn't want to take any responsibility for any of it, even though he was the adult in the situation. I was finally the adult when I, confronted him, and that's okay. That was his choice. And even, when we hadn't talked for probably 10 years, and I found out that he was in the hospital, I still called him. I didn't know what was wrong, what was, so serious about the situation. And And so I just called to check on him, and I haven't heard from him again. And those are the type of people that you don't need in your life. Him, I probably wouldn't have heard from anyway. But he reminded me a lot of my ex. He didn't want to take responsibility for anything. My ex would never say sorry. My dad was just like that. There's a certain, like, sign, that's like that, or that has been that way for me. I'm not going to mention what it is, but I'm not, me and that sign are no longer even, we're just not, simpatico. Okay. But just recognize, like, these things. Know that you don't have to, recognize these people in your lives. Even if they're your parents. And you don't have to deal with that shit. And know that you don't have to deal with that shit. You want another family? Go ahead. You want another girlfriend? Go ahead. But I'm going to move on and live my life. And don't be mad when I do, because when I do, it's going to be fucking glorious. I'm already done like a 180 from, almost a year ago. And I believe I did that 180 probably within like 8-ish, 9-ish months. And I think that's pretty fast. I think that's really good. Now, is there things that I still have to work on? Of course. There will always be things that I have to work on. They say new levels, new devils. So I've already dealt with some pretty interesting ones. Jezebel. Oh my God, the Jezebels are... I mean, if you're a guy and you get a female with a Jezebel energy, you might like it, but I'm going to warn you that it will try to attach to you, and it is not all about sex. These bitches are nasty. And I don't know if they come with if there was separate entities. Because I feel like my ex had a lot. There was a lot pulling on him. And it wasn't my job to deal with it. Okay, I did for 18 years. And I feel like I stayed much longer than I should have. But of course, like we've discussed, it was because I didn't love myself. So love yourself. Put time and energy into you instead of what's taking your time and energy. Get that out of your life, out of your system, okay? And they will beg you to come back. They will tell you that they're sorry. They might have not told you that you're sorry for fucking 18 years. And guess what? They're going to tell you that they're sorry now. And you can be like, I know you're sorry. You're a sorry-ass person is what you are. You're a sorry-ass excuse for a human being is what you are. And, you don't have to feel bad about that. It's not your fault that they're, that they don't want to embrace a different way of living. If my ex and I would talk, we might talk about getting married, and my uncle was a pastor. So if you get, married, and there's like a Christian pastor involved or whatever, like my, uncle, he likes to do like counseling, like marriage counseling, like before, and, my ex won't do it. I'm not doing that. Then he won't marry us. Okay, he's married all of my other cousins, and he has not, and like my ex, like I said, didn't go to any of the weddings that I'd go to. My very first like when him and I just first got together. I mean, we were probably together for like, what did we get together in April? So we were probably together for like 4 or 5 months when he went to a wedding with me. After that, nothing. Anyway, you don't need these people in your life. And if there's people wreaking havoc in your life, these are the people that God wants you to get rid of so you can pour into yourself. So know that. Try to follow that. Try to embrace that, okay? I really do love you, and if you need any help, please let me know. Put it down in the comments, and I will be glad to respond. You have a wonderful day. Say please and thank you, and I love you. Bye.